Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a video I wanted to make a very long time ago. But anyways, I was lazy. I needed all the troops to be unlocked and everything. So now they're all unlocked and now I have some time since Apex season is over. So I hope this video will help people who are new or people who are, getting to close to end game, or doesn't matter. Even you guys are at end game, you guys can watch this and hopefully you find this informative. So this video is about how to not waste your resources, what to build and what not to build. Some stuff you can stay away, some mechanic and some troops. And like you can see here, there's these percentage here. This is your mechanic, how high your mechanic level are. And some stuff you can, of course, you want them all to be level 70. But if you're not a free-to-play player, you probably don't need to watch this. You probably have everything maxed out. If you're like low spender or free-to-play player, then you probably want to watch this. So priority is very important, like which one you want to go level 70%, which one you can kind of leave it, and etc. So now we're going to start. Let's start with infantry first. Okay, we're now going to look at these pages in order. So the first page here is, these ones are no-brainer. They're really cheap to invest and you should max them out. These ones here, you probably should have them maxed out already because in the beginning you don't need any SSR material. And this one is necessary for PvE and PvP because you're going to increase a lot just against Lancers. Okay, so these ones are no-brainer. So now when it comes to these troops, I would say heavy infantry is pretty worth it to invest because the amount of people you can see that can use it. And these troops are very good in both PvE and PvP. So if you have someone, if you have a lot of people who can use this, definitely invest into this. Okay, straight up, very easy, very simple. This one here, they are really good, but I think they're more catered to PvP. So if you are a PvE only player, this is not really worth it. PvP is less common now, in my opinion. I think it's more like it's being used on Mario and Reen. The rest are much less common. So you probably can kind of skip this now, because now we have more other hero. We have more soldiers now. So this one, if you use a lot of Mario and Reen in PvP, maybe, but this one is recommended. Now let's look at advanced training. These ones should also be maxed out. These mechanics here, they're very cheap. Okay, so this one, the warrior here, you can absolutely skip this. Berserker is also not very good because the heroes that can use these are not many, and most of these heroes have mixed troops, which means they have other troops such as the Flyer, Calvary. So they're not they're not locked down to use only infantry units. They are more, Berserker is more catered to Kirikaze, but there are better troops now that if you're new to this game, you haven't maxed this out, skip these two. They are not worth it. Okay, now Mask makes very good, but only good again like with these heroes. So I would say since L1 right now has SP version can still use these. Hard to say. They are good for PvE and PvP, but now they're just less common because there's more troops that these hero can use. Let's say for Clara, probably never use it. She never used it. There's other heroes. Ares probably won't use it. It's mainly for Lewin and Elven. Now Ledin usually uses Redeemer. So it's up to you. In the early stage of this game, when we didn't have that many troops, these were really worth it. But right now, it's really much just for Elwyn and Lewin. So up to you guys. I think it's worth it. They're very strong. Here, this Orc here. Orc is actually really good. They're actually really good. It's just that not many heroes can use it. For myself, when I use any of these heroes, I have other troops that I want to use. So I think these two and these two can definitely skip. Okay, now we have our elite training. This gets a little bit more debatable it really depends how you play your, like what kind of teams you play, what kind of heroes you use. So I would say this one, of course, max it very cheap. These ones here, it really depends what you need. Let's say if I use my infantry troops as attackers, so I definitely want these to be maxed out. I don't really use them to tank. So if you use them to tank, such as using our guardian infantry most of your time, then you probably want to max out the defense and the HP first. Okay, so I won't, like, when it comes to other fields, I probably won't say too much about these parts. It really depends how you use them, and yeah, you want to max them out in the end goal is to max them all out. So now let's take a look at this mechanic. This mechanic, I made a mistake. I felt that this one can be upgraded much later. So these ones, usually until level 5, they don't take up any SSR materials, I think. Don't quote me on that. But this one is not that good. So right here is like infantry attack and defense increased by 15%. Well, this is 15% at level 8. So 20% at level 10. When attacking enemies of equal or lower HP percentage. Which is why I don't really like this one. When it comes to PvP, sure. PvP, I think it's pretty good. But when it comes to PvE, most of the time the challenges that would give you a hard time would be maybe timeless trial, the event challenges, or like maybe level 70 dragons and stuff. So they usually would have higher HP than you. So this doesn't come into play. So what I want to introduce you guys would be the mechanics where you can use for both PvE and PvP content. So this one, I mean, it's good, but you probably don't, like you can see that I don't have it maxed out, even though I have the resources. I feel like this one can be upgraded later. So that's my opinion. So now we look at this one here. Okay, damage taken by infantry is reduced by 17% when HP is higher than 80%. So this one is very, very good if you use infantry tanks. Infantry tanks such as guardian infantry, if you want them to take hits. So this one you do. Why I have it at level 9, it's because I was using guardian infantry for last season to tank against Lancer troops. But right now I just haven't upgraded. I haven't maxed them yet. I probably won't because my next season box I don't have any units that uses guardian infantry. But when it comes to PvE, I think these are actually not worth it. There's just not many PvE tanks who use guardian infantry. Okay, so for PvE, I think this one you can probably skip or just leave it to whenever that requires expensive materials. Okay, Dark Guard, I think it kind of sucks. I know some people have them upgraded. Not many people can use them, and all these units have better units now. Better soldiers, sorry. So this one, if you haven't upgraded it, don't bother. They are not very good. They don't do a lot of attack. They can't really tank, and they have a lot of HP. That's pretty much it. Okay, Guardian Infantry, it's purely for PvP, I'm telling you guys. PvE, honestly, PvE is not worth upgrading this. Very situational. Maybe some timeless trial, but I wouldn't upgrade these if you are only playing PvE. Okay, but these are for PvP. They're really, really good, especially in the current meta right now. So there's that. Cyclops are very good. The reason why I don't have them upgraded, so when attacking enemies with lower HP percentage than this unit, so that is one of the reason why. Because if enemies have high HP percentage, just like these here, those are the reason why I don't want to upgrade them. But when it comes to PvP, I think these can be good, but they're just not like super worth investing into. So I would leave these to maybe level 5. This is where you use your expensive materials. So there's that. Okay, now we're gonna look at the last one here. These ones again, same reason as the other ones, so I won't explain further. Okay, these ones I think is really good. Well, really good only if you are using infantry as offense. They're really good because deal plus specific damage, 30% at level 10. Damage when there are no ally units within a 1 block radius. 1 block radius is really easy to achieve. If it's 2 block radius, I think these are kind of hard to use because you most likely would be close to your tanks. Usually infantry units, they don't have long legs. Most of the time in PvE and PvP, you probably would be hugging your tank when you are fighting your enemies. So 1 block radius is good, but 2 block radius, not worth it. So this one's worth it if you want more damage. This one here, again, I just think this is actually probably the last thing you want to upgrade, because this is only good against range attack and adds defense and magic defense. But honestly, most of the time against strong mages, well, PvE, that's different. I think PvE, I won't bother with this at all, because you would have your tank to cover you. But PvP, I think your infantry soldiers usually would be dead against mages and stuff. Even if you have this max, I don't think you can survive. Especially there's skills like Fireball, Dark Reaper and stuff. They deal too much damage, so this is kind of irrelevant. So maybe at the very end you want this. Okay, now we're gonna look at the soldiers here. Cyborg here, I think is good, but now it's just not really worth it anymore for these troops. They're still kind of good for Gizaroth, but they're just, again, better troops for these guys. So I would definitely not upgrade them. They're only good. Okay, I'm gonna read the description. Okay, when attacking, can engage in range attacks along with the hero, and soldiers deal plus 20% damage. Well, at max is plus 30%, I believe. So he uses AoE. He just controls the well, he uses them, but not often. There's just other better troops for Gizaroth. For her, I think I'm not sure who uses. Maybe for her is worth it. I'm not sure. I don't use her. I don't even have her. But for Sigma, there's Faceless now. If you're using the SP version, if you're not using if you're using a regular version, maybe it's worth it. But it's just not enough heroes for me to invest into it. Okay, Barbarian Warrior, not bad, but not very good. Too situational. Okay, again, when attacking enemies with a HP percentage lower than or equal to this unit's, soldier attack increases by 15%. So you need this requirement to get whatever percent is max, probably 30%. When attacking enemies with a HP percentage higher than this unit's, soldier attack and defense increase by maybe 30%, or I don't know what's the percentages, but very situational again. And I think, again, there's not many troops you can use on them, but if you are going to build Berserker anyways, I would say ignore Berserker and build these ones. They're just better than Berserker. They're like the same thing, but better. Okay, now when it comes to, okay, these ones, some people like them, but honestly, I haven't seen anyone use them in PvP. The heroes that can use this are very few. They're just not very good. When attacked, if this is like when attacking, a soldier gains +1 range, I think this is like no-brainer. You should invest into this, but this is only when attacked. So not good. They're not tanky at all. Okay, so this one please skip. If you have them built already, rip. But if you don't, then up to you. Okay, so this is the last one. This is like a no-brainer. Like you want this maxed out, but it's just the most expensive thing out there. Okay, now let's take a look at the Lancer here. Oh, sorry. Before I go into that, so when it comes to these training results, if you only use your infantry to attack, this should go 70%, and the second would probably be, it's up to you. You know what? Depends what troops you use. Some of the troops that requires higher HP than your enemy, then you want to beef this up. But if you're just going to tank, beef this up. Okay, Lancer training field here. These ones, same reason. No-brainer. Like first page is no-brainer. This is like the best of the best. So many heroes can use it, and they tank physical damage like a king. So this one maxed out is like the first troops you need to max out when it comes to Lancer. This one here, honestly, stay away from it unless you are playing PvP. These are solely for PvP. PvE, you just stick with this. Unless you don't have that option, but there's just so few of these heroes can use this. I honestly Again, not PvP, don't upgrade these. Okay, fast training, no brainer. These are no brainer. Okay, this one, Amazon Champion. I like them a lot. A lot of heroes can use them. You can use them offensively, but right now you can. When it comes to PvE, they're not very useful. They're kind of like uncommon. But then when it comes to PvP, they became more common because of SP Elven. Because a lot of heroes that are weak against, that are squishy, such as these here, now they can kind of not get one shot and they can deal really good damage against Cavalry. So for PvP, I would recommend using these. They're really aggressive. They're really offensive and aggressive. So they're good. Okay, Lava Titan. PvP, they kind of suck, but PvE, I think they're really good. Definitely can max them out, but they, because right here, after taking action, apply burn to one enemy within 2 blocks. So this one here, even if they're not maxed out, they're still very tanky. So the percentage of HP is pretty much what you're looking to upgrade. And they can help you cheese some like PvE events and challenges, but PvP, they're less common. But PvP, these ones are better. So I would say this chart here, aside from Amazon Champion, these two are pretty well worth investing. These one, it really depends if you use any of these heroes. Elite Training. Elite Training, I would say this one's no brainer, max this out. I would go for a defense first. Lancer gives an impression of being defensive. So attack would probably come in last. So I would go defense, HP, and then attack. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this here. When HP is below 70%, Lancer damage taken is decreased by 15%. This is no brainer. PvE and PvP, you should max this out. The reason I don't, or I haven't had this maxed out, is because I never had like a Lancer tank. And I didn't feel the need to put it on Leaden, because Leaden, I use Lancer, but he's so strong as a tank in PvE. These ones, I just left it right here, and it's good enough. But I will max them out eventually, and this one's also very good. But this one, okay, Lancer damage dealt increases by 25% when attacked. So if your tank has really strong counter attack, level this up. But if their counter attack is not that strong, you can probably leave it at level 3 right now. It won't be like a game changer. But I think if you're using Leaden, where his counter attack is so strong, it's definitely worth it. Okay, Vanguard and Lancer, they are trash. They are so bad, okay? They suck. Don't bother. Because, okay, they are not even good in attack, in my opinion. They're not defensive. It just sucks. Okay, this one I think is good, but only like so few can use this. Hard to say. I only really see people use it on Leonhardt, so I would probably skip this for only a couple characters. Okay, now we're going to look at Elite Upgrade here. Again, these ones should be max over attack. Okay, this one here. All Lancers, when fighting on terrain without a defense enhancement effect, gain percentage defense and magic defense. Good for PvP. PvE, probably not really necessary. Won't make a big difference. This one here. All Lancers gain a specific amount of percent attack when fighting an enemy of an equal or higher HP percentage. So this one is for offense. I would definitely skip these. Okay, now we have Hoplite. This is the new heroes. They are good, but they ignore class disadvantage, not just the troops, but your hero as well. I wouldn't say they're bad, but I wouldn't say they're really good. Situational, but it's catered more to PvP. I think PvE, you want to have the class disadvantage role in your gameplay. So this one, I would say, if it's just for PvE, upgrade these later. PvP, it really depends on how you play your box and who you use this. Okay, Crystal Motor is so common right now. For PvE, they kind of suck. But for PvP, they are so good, especially if you have your tank equip Thorns. Because with Thorn and these both, when Thorn procs with these, the chances of killing a range Mage character is very, very high. So these should be level 10 if you play PvP and if you use these. Okay, this one is not bad for both PvE and PvP. The only downside is that you will need to have your HP at 100% to have this effect. So if your heroes, I should say if your tanks, when it comes to PvE, when your healers in PvE are not characters that can help you regenerate after each attack, they are kind of trash. For example, because PvE and PvP is different. PvE, we have a player phase and an enemy phase. So we move all of our player units, and the enemy uses all their units. So if enemy has like 20 units, okay, let's say 10 units, they attack whoever you're using it. But if you can't regenerate your HP, you automatically loses this effect. So PvE, if you're not using Tiaris, maybe Sophia or Anna, then they are not very good. PvP, same reason, but PvP is a little bit different because we take turns moving. So again, very situational when it comes to PvP. But PvE, think twice if you want to upgrade these. Okay, and then the very last one, of course, we're gonna upgrade them. So I would say this here, you want to go defense, HP, and then last attack. Okay, Cavalry training here. These one again, simple, no-brainer. And I think Elite Cavalry, you probably can't skip them. You probably need to max them because in the early stages when you just started the game, Elite Cavalry is so common and it's kind of cheap to level up to level 5. But Heavy Cavalry, stay away. They are so trash. Dragoon is not bad, but I say it's more catered to PvP. Even though more catered to PvP, they are very situational and depends who you use them on. Yeah, not very worth it unless you are, your strategy would involve maybe riding the wind. Let's say you use Sherry and then you use Dragoon and then you want to ride Luna's 3C wind, and then I think they're pretty worth it. But other than that, for now, not really, because all these units have better troops. Okay, now advanced training. Okay, these one I won't bother wasting time. Okay, so now this one here is very important to know. Okay, Bone Dino, I'm telling you, they are very good. They deal so much damage, but if you look at the heroes here, it's just not really worth building anymore. And then back in the days, if we're talking about like season, PvE, I think they're kind of meh, whatever. But when it comes to PvP, I think season 1 and 4, or even 1 and 5, they're still really worth building. Because in the beginning, there's not many units. There weren't many units that can use these troops. And then now, I think there's just better cavalry troops for these guys. It's still really good, but it's very expensive, and they're very fragile. If you're doing like a rush team comm, sure. But right now, the meta is just Lancer tanks, so you probably can't even do anything anymore. You're just gonna like kill yourself. So these one, if you haven't built them, they probably can stay away. Okay, Hellhound here. I don't really like them. They're really kind of for PvE, like cheese, such as like Ancient Beckoning, some challenges, the event challenges. But other than that, they don't really do much aside from decreasing their your opponent's defense. Okay, so Paladin here. Okay, so now Templar Knight, I'm telling you, they are not good for PvE. You have your tank to cover you. But if you're using PvP, it's kind of like a must. Unless, if you're using any of these tanks here, I think they're probably one of the best anti-mage troops. Very strong against demon as well. So if you play PvP, they are very worth it. But if you're not, have them as 0, you'll be fine. Elite training. Okay, I have these maxed out. Elite training, I would say, really depends if you play PvE or PvP. That's one thing. Second is who you use as your tank. Let's say Len is your tank, you can just leave these part out and just upgrade the attack. But if you're using Landius, for example, these are all very important because Landius can attack and can tank. So again, this is pretty much, it depends who you use as your tank. Okay, now we have this right here, group charge. When an ally is within 2 blocks, Cavalry attack and defense increase by 20%. Super good in PvE and PvP. Okay, if you have, unless you're not using tank push when it comes to PvP, then maybe you can omit this, but like I think they're just really good because it increases both. If it increases just attack or defense, maybe you can skip, but it increases 2 stats, then I think they're really worth it. Okay, this one is also very important. When attacking Cavalry's damage taken decreased by 15%. I think these are very important. I just don't have them maxed yet because I don't have the resources, and most of the time I use my Cavalry as tank. But yeah, but if you're using, how do I say this? If you're only there to kill squishy, it doesn't even matter. You're not going to take much damage. But if you're hitting against a tank, most likely the tank is now, are now Lancers, so maybe this is a little bit irrelevant. This one I think you can kind of wait until much later to upgrade. Okay, now let's talk about these 3 troops here, and I'm gonna tell you Guardian Cavalry is so trash. I even regret leveling up to level 5. So it just makes no sense, these troops. When attacking, damage taken is reduced. Okay, so when you're attacking, I would assume everyone, when you're attacking, you want to deal good damage. But this is like vice versa. When you're attacking, you're taking less damage. When you're attacked, your damage is not reduced. Like, what the hell? I don't even know why they made these. Oh, anyway, so okay, Heaven's Guard. Heaven's Guard is good. It's good. A lot of units can use this, but the one thing is, okay, I'm gonna read this with you guys first. Okay, so soldier attack increases by specific percent with each block pass before attacking. So it's kind of like Leon. The more you move, the more damage it deals. So this is Leon in true form. However, a lot of the units who can use these are mixed force. So when it comes to mixed force, there are terrain restriction because they don't fly. Let's say these are flyer here, and if you do these, if you can't ignore the terrain restriction, then they are not that useful. So they're very situational, but they are good though, but just very situational, which is why I left them. Royal Cavalry, PvE and PvP. If you do use your tank as Cavalry, sorry, if you do use Landius or Hilda as your tank, no brainer. Emmerich, no brainer. The rest you can think about it, but they are so good, they are broken. Okay, now Elite Upgrade 2, here's the same reason that from the other pages as well. So now this one here, all Cavalry gain plus 8% damage for every 1 block moved, up to 40%. Very good. Should be maxed out unless you only solely use Cavalry as tank. This one as well is very good. All Cavalry gain 20% at level 10 attack and defense whenever their attacks are guarded against. So this one is good, especially when you're hitting against tanks. But usually I don't have my Cavalry rush into Lancer tanks right now because everyone uses Lancer tanks. So this one, which is why I stopped upgrading them. Okay, Unicorn, no brainer. Anyone can use them. They make them a beast, deal so much damage, ignores terrain. And then this one, Mechanical Knight, also very good. So many new heroes these new troops, a lot of heroes that had terrain restriction, now they can use it. So if you use any of these heroes, very well worth it in PvE and PvP. Scorpio, they suck. Okay, pretty obvious, just like the other training results. If you use Calvary as offense only, then attack. If you use them as tank, then defense and HP. If you use both, max everything. Okay, now we're going to look at the Flyer and Aquatic. These ones should be maxed. These are cheap. Okay, Tide Master, I think they suck. So you should, you know, don't even bother with these. They're only good when they're in water. They're just not good. Okay, Griffin Knight, very good. Oh, I skipped Lizardman because they suck. Okay, they are basically Bone Dino in water. They are not good. And the amount of heroes that can use them are like not many. They're not good. They're just really they deal a lot of damage, that's it, but it's just not worth it, man. Okay, Griffin Knight, good, very good. This is like a stronger version of Angel. Angel is like against magic, but Griffin Knight is against physical. So many units can use them. I would say this one is one of the first troops you should level up to 10. This one in Angels. Yeah, advanced training. These ones are okay. So these ones should be maxed. So now we're gonna look at the troops. Vampire Bats pretty much can be ignored. You don't have to build them. They're just not that good anymore because they don't give you anything, no effect aside from restoring HP. But these used to be kind of necessary, I would say, because there were many troops for some of the heroes. But if you're new or if you don't have these built, you can stay away from these. They're sometimes good, but not often. Okay, Holy Pegasus, very good. Super tanky. When soldier HP is above 50%, 100% chance to decrease damage taken by 50%. Very good. So whoever can use these, if you're using any of these heroes, usually is on Claret, Luna, or Lance. They are very good. Okay, Lobster here is like no-brainer. Level them up max if you use any water units. If you don't use any of these water units... Oh, also one thing. During water battle, so if they're not in water, they do not get damage taken decreased by 50%. So he doesn't change anything into water. He doesn't either. So if you're using these two units, they're not very good. But if you're using these, they can change their nearby as water, then they're worth it. But yeah, it's just so common now using Juggler. So I would say, like, if you use Juggler, like right away, this should be your first hero, first troops that you should max. Okay, now elite training. So these ones same as other ones. It really depends what you use your aquatic or flyer troops for. Okay, so this one here, when attacking units with 100% HP, flyer and aquatic attack and defense increase by 10%. I think this is like one of the first mechanic you should max out. It's just so good because most of the time you should have your units at 100 HP, 100% HP when you just start your battle, and this is where you get your most damage and defense out of. So this mechanic is really worth it. This one here, okay, when attacking enemies in water, aquatic damage dealt increases by 20 or 30%, whatever. This one, you can probably leave it. This is only good for some heroes, like water units. There's just not many, like not enough water units to a point to have you max these out. Leviathan here. Leviathan here is not good in PvE. They are, because none of these units can change these. I mean, can not change their nearby to water. None of these. They're good on water maps, but they're usually no water maps when it comes to PvE content. So PvE not worth it, but PvP they are so good if you use these units. They actually opens up a lot of maps and a lot of options when it comes to PvP. Okay, PvE no, PvP, and when you use these units, yes. Angel, no brainer, one of the best troops in the game, and if you use any of these heroes, this should be at level 10. Gargoyle, Fliers, one of the best troops for Flyers. If you use any of these heroes, they are very worth it. Tanky, and also does a lot of attack. Well, it depends on your HP. Okay, when unit HP is above 50%, you do a lot of damage. When you're low, they're tanky. Now, Elite Upgrade 2. These one I won't mention. Okay, right here. All aquatic unit gain specific amount of percent attack and magic defense whenever they are attacked in water. So, when you're getting attacked in water, your attack doesn't even matter. Because aquatic units, their counter attack is very weak. So, and magic defense whenever they are attacked in water. This one kind of sucks too, because water units are very weak against magic. So this one is kind of irrelevant. If this is like attack and defense, I think this is really good. Attack and magic defense, you can wait until later. You most likely, because there's also this here. Most of the PvE not worth it. Sorry for forget to mention, but PvP, all the aquatic tanks, they usually have last right. So these are kind of irrelevant when it comes to magic defense and defense. They're of course they come into play, but they're not that important. Especially you have last right, then that will already help you survive. Like your chances of surviving is much higher. So this one definitely don't bother until much later. Pirate Raider here. These ones, PvE no, PvP yes, but only if you use these units. Okay, they're definitely not worth it, but I use Elusia, or planning to use Elusia in my box for next season. That's why I have them maxed out. They are the best troops for Elusia. They steal buffs, they counter attack because they have 2 range attack. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you don't use any of these units, just have them at level 0. Okay, this one here, all Flyers gain 13 specific amount of percent defense and magic defense whenever they are in mixed forces. So this is okay. When you're pretty much, there's no heroes who can use mixed force as tank. Mixed force as in using flyer. So aquatic or using aquatic units. So you don't have flyer tanks or tanks who can use flyer, except like maybe Emmerich on top of my head. So not very good. But if you're afraid that your offensive characters such as Leon, you know, uses Angel, or Lamford uses Griffin Knight, Steel Wing, then I think this one is okay, pretty good, but not priority. Okay, Tito Elf here. I think they are not bad. They're pretty good, but it's just that not enough heroes can use. So I guess if you, because she has better. Okay, Stefanio, she has really good troops. She has like Shrine Maiden. She has Leviathan, and she has what else does she have? She has more than that. And then Elusia right now is just Pirate Raider. So I don't know if it's worth just building it on Lollibozo, because Lollibozo also has Leviathan. So yeah, I think they're not very good. But I haven't used them myself, so I can't really comment on this one. But I would say PvP, sure. PvE, probably not. Dragon Trooper, I think some people said they are good. I honestly don't think they're good. The reason why, because it's so first, not a lot of units can use them. And even if they can use them, you have to. Okay, so I'm going to read it with you guys. Soldier attack increases by a specific amount of percent for each block moved before attacking. So you have to make sure you move to attack. So can you guarantee yourself moving every time? Probably not. If we're talking about PvE, you probably have to hug your tank when you're attacking. So your movement is limited because you can't get out of your tank range. When it comes to PvP, probably same thing. Especially now PvP has a lot of mobility debuffs, etc., you probably cannot get your maximum movement. I like the other side though. I mean the other effect. After being attacked and taking damage, mobility is increased by 2. Like, I think this is pretty cool, but the downside is that you have to get attacked first. So for flyers, most likely if you got attacked already, you're gonna not, you get this, and then you have to make sure you heal first, and then you get this effect here. So sure, you do get the mobility, but if you don't have them 100% healed, you're not going to get your max attack and defense. So which is why I think they're not very good. Maybe only in the beginning of the battle, but yeah, I guess just PvP. PvE, nah. Okay, Steel Wing, very good. PvE and PvP, you should max these out. Does a lot of damage. And when range attacks, soldier defense and magic defense plus 30%. Very good. And these ones should be maxed out, but I would say probably max out the flyer part over the aquatic for PvE. PvP depends who you use as your tank. So here, same reason as the other one, so I won't go over. It's pretty obvious when it comes to flyer and cavalry especially. Okay, archer and assassin. So this one is important. I think this is the most important. This is where most of the people waste their resources. Okay, these should be maxed out. Very cheap. Sky archer. If you don't use any of these units, of course, you can ignore that. But if you use any of these units, I'm telling you, they are probably the best archer in the game. They make your hero fly. Like, they can't fly, but with these, they can. It's amazing. PvE and PvP, they should be maxed out. Very, very good. Okay, now we look. Okay, this one should be maxed. So, Elf Master, they suck so much. I regret building this alone. Hence this one. All stats plus 30% at level 10. Attack and defense increases only when you're in woods and mountain terrain. First, in PvP, is irrelevant. You cannot always be on woods and mountain terrain. And there's some maps, they don't even have woods and mountain terrain. So PvP, no. PvE, again, you're hugging your tank. Can you always make sure you're on woods and mountain terrain? Probably not. They suck. Okay, advanced training one. These one easily maxed out. Okay, I'm gonna talk about this later. I'm talking about this first. Faceless and Bandit, they are pretty much the same thing, except Faceless is better. So if you haven't have these built already, don't build this. They suck compared to Faceless. Faceless is just so much better for PvE and PvP. So if you use any of these units, including SP Sigma, in PvP, they are very, very good. Okay, so this is good for PvP. So now let's talk about, okay, these two here. Okay, Dark Elf Sniper. I think they are not bad in PvE, but a lot of these units already have their better troops. When it's come to PvP, nobody really uses these troops except Assassin. So there's one downside when it comes to Assassins, because Assassin usually would use what do you call that skill? Most likely they will use this skill here, this passive, Backstab. When attacking, if the target's HP is at 100%, deals fixed damage once. So a lot of Assassin would bring this effect here. It doesn't come into play. When attacking units with 100% HP, then you get this effect. But if you use Backstab, Backstab happens before entering battle, so this one will never come into play. So I think this one you can definitely skip. Okay, now we have Catapult here. PvE and PvP, not really worth it. They're kind of cheesy. I know some people use catapult in PvP. I just don't like the fact that when attacking, your unit damage decreases a specific amount of percent, and you also, because none of these heroes hit 3 range to begin with, so they need to have specific weapon to make this work, like Scepter of Divinity, the staff, 3 range staff, or you need Uller Bow, the 3 range bow. So if you don't have these, you probably don't even bother thinking about these. Okay, advanced training 2, these should be max, super cheap investment. These one here, honestly, Miss Dancer, all stats plus 30%, critical increase by 45%, and critical hits deal 1 random powerful debuff. They are not very good in my opinion, because they only really give you attack stats. Assassin, you want attack, and you want to one-shot your opponent. So if you can't one-shot your opponent, you're gonna deal 1 random debuff. It's just not very good. You want to kill, isn't it? My opinion. So I think these ones are more for like PvE rather than PvP. PvE, you most likely can't one-shot your opponent anyways with Assassin. So maybe the debuff would help, but I would probably stay away, because the amount of heroes that can use these are not, like, they don't rely on these troops anyways. They have better troops. Okay, Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is one of the troops that I regret building. They suck. Okay, they suck so much. They don't give you any attack effect. They are only good for mobility debuff, but we had no choice back in the days when we're using like Illustrio, when you're using like D-Heart. We just didn't have options. But right now, the new troops came out, so if you didn't build these, don't build them. They are trash. Okay, now we have Bolt Ranger. Bolt Ranger are very good for PvP. PvE, not really, because 100% chance to decrease damage taken by 50%. If your character can quit this in PvP, if you're not against mages, they will save your life. Especially for Iris and Tiaris. They are really good. But if you're not using these two, like these units, it's not really good. Only good for these 2 healers. Because these heroes are not tank, they want to attack. They want to deal damage. So these one is for survivability for your healers. Okay, Elite Training 1 here. Assassin and Archers want to have, like, one deals good damage. So max this. These one are kind of irrelevant. They are very squishy, Assassin and Archer, so they're probably gonna die anyways, even if you have these maxed. Bolt Ranger will help you survive, because regardless their defense or HP whatsoever, they 100% chance to decrease damage taken by 50%. So these ones are more for like AoE survivability. Okay, so now we're gonna look at this one here. Archer attack and defense increased by 30% when fighting flyers. Really good. When battling on terrain with the defensive bonus, damage dealt is increased by 30%. You should have this max PvE and PvP. Both PvE, okay, let's say PvE. There's a lot of flyers, and PvP, there's also a lot of flyers. This one basically helped you secure a kill, like never fail to one-shot a flyer. That's what this is for. This mechanic here. Oh yeah, Killing Breath is really tricky. All assassin damage dealt increased by 30% when attacking enemies who have full HP. So this is kind of like the Dark Elf Sniper. If you use backstab on your assassin, then this effect will not come into play. So you gotta be careful. If you want it, it's like a double-edged sword. You want to kill your opponent, you gotta destroy their last right, and then but you want to deal 30% extra damage. So I don't know, this one usually can't really come into play when it comes to PvP. It's kind of hard, but it's still important to have them upgraded. Okay, these 3 troops here. Firebrand Sniper. They are, if you're using Hein, if you're using Imelda, and if you're using Matthew as Archer, I think it's worth it. Even Joshua. These other ones probably not really. Maybe Shilinka. These ones, I don't know. Maybe. I don't use these. I mean, I don't use Sigma to know enough. But the reason why I think like it's best for these three if you have Archer, Mage, because these they don't really have good offensive mages. So this would be a good substitute, and they deal fixed damage. They're pretty good. But if you're not using, honestly, if you're not using these three units as your main team, in your main team, then maybe not worth it. Maybe you can skip and wait until later. Okay, Samurai. First, look at the heroes that can use Samurai. They suck. The reason I built them, it was because for Rainforest, and after I built them, I realized that they suck so much. They're super weak. I mean, it's cool. Units damage is not reduced in melee battles. So basically, troops with extreme magic bow on, but they're just not good. They're so squishy. They die easily. Oh yeah, Shinobi. Shinobi is good stuff for assassins, and if you use any of these assassins, I think they are good. Okay, Elite Upgrade 2. Same reason these you can probably omit, max your HP. And now we're gonna look at these mechanics. All assassin gain +9 defense and magic defense whenever fighting mages or holy units. They suck. This mechanic is so bad. PvE, we're not gonna mention it because PvE you have tanks. This is solely for PvP. PvP, like the mage should not fail to kill you. Holy units, okay, so if holy units either gonna one-shot you, we're talking about maybe like Yusuke, we're probably talking about Rosalina. Is it Rosalina or Rosalia? I don't even know the name anymore. Okay, so holy units, they are gonna one-shot you anyways because they're so squishy. Archers and assassins. Then now, what other holy units are out there? Mages? Not mages, sorry. Healers. The healers shouldn't be able to one-shot you unless you're like really weak, like you're low HP. So, do you want to just build these for healers? Probably not. Okay, now this one here. All archer gain specific amount of percent defense and magic defense when melee attack. Trust me, when you're melee attack, you are freaking dead. And these are for PvP. PvE, not really. All the archers in this freaking game are so weak. This is just making people spend their resources. People who don't know better. Like if their melee attack fails to kill you, that guy has some work to do with his melee characters. Okay, so these two ignore until the very, very end when you have nothing better to upgrade. Okay, so now we have these three troops here. This one's very good if you use any of these units. But however, when it comes to Sarita, you probably won't use these because you want to kill. You want to secure a kill. These troops are for people who can't kill. For example, Oliver. Oliver can either kill or, well, Oliver doesn't really have good troops. That's why. So these ones are good and steals buffs, removes buffs. So this is really good for Himiko, because these also works with AoE. But if you don't use, I would say if you don't use Himiko and Oliver, probably not really worth investing. I don't know about Tsubame because Tsubame sucks so much. I don't even care. But yeah, if you use these two units, I think they're worth it because I was using Oliver last season, so I have these maxed. Okay, so this is the new substitute, not new substitute. These are the improved troops of Demon Hunter. Any units can use this. Upgrade these. They are so good. So I would say Illustrio, Oliver, and D-Heart, very well worth it. Okay, Dorf, Adventure. I I tried them when I was boosting for some other people. They are kind of okay. They make your skills become a straight line. Does hella damage though. So none of these units really have a straight line AoE. She does, but she doesn't have any costs, extra costs to bring those skills. Not Noemi, not her neither. So they have straight line anyway, so this will only improve it. So I think if you're using Maya and Lambda, these troops are pretty good. Makes them hit really, really hard. But other than that, yeah, probably not really worth the resources. And then these are no-brainers. So right here, you can probably just copy my stats here. Go attack, and then later HP, and then when you have more resources, then the defense. Okay, the very last training tree here, Holy and Demon training. Okay, these ones should be maxed, and Holy Knight, very debatable. There's only a few units who can use these, and if you feel like you're not healing enough, they are worth it. The reason why I have these built is because for Imelda has very weak healing. She's not like a dedicated healer. But with these here, it will increase her mass healing effect, which is why I have these built. But if you are using Tiaris and Iris, like they are your main healer, not really worth it. They have better troops. They'll do fine with healing. But Imelda, and don't worry about Gerald. He would never use these. But yeah, this is solely for Imelda. But I have these built like quite some time. So if you're new to the game, probably not really worth it. Okay, Zealot here. Zealot is so good. If you use any of these units, they are one of the first holy unit you should max at level 10. So basically, if you have faction buff, you'll get maximum up to 40% buff of these. Very good, very strong, very tanky, like all around troops. Okay, Bishop, pretty much same reason as Holy Knight, but if you were to build either one of these, build Bishop. If you feel like you need more healing, look at how many more units can use these. Okay, advanced training too. So this one should be max, these ones should be max. Okay, first look at this mechanic here. It's like no-brainer. Demon and Mage attack and defense increase by 20% when battling against enemies with buffs. Like PV and PvP, all enemies have buffs. So this is like no-brainer. Max this. Okay, Wizard. Wizard sucks so much. You should not bother building, which is why I said earlier, because Hein and Imelda can use only this as their offensive mages, which is why I rather build the Firebrand. Like they're just not good, man. So weak. Don't bother. They suck. Their stats also suck. Okay. Sorceress, no brainer. This is like the best, still the best mage troops in the game. Hits like a truck, and they can tank so well against magic at 100% HP. So beware. If it's below, if it's like 99% HP, you don't get this effect here. Then they suck. Well, not suck, but like not very good. But the amount of heroes that can use them, so many. Okay, Dark Alchemists, nah, they're okay. They're okay. It's like some people use them for Chris, who use them for Lana and for Rachel. So okay, you know what? Some people probably don't know what they do. Okay, physical damage dealt by normal attacks is treated blah blah blah, so that doesn't matter. Basically deals magic damage when soldier HP is above 80%. Soldier range increases by 1. So this, instead of 2, hits at 3, but their attack is just not that good. So it's really up to you guys. You also kind of need, because these heroes all hit at 2 range, and then all of a sudden your unit hits 3 range, but doesn't matter, because if they hit 3 range, your soldier can't attack with them. So you're losing some sort of attack. So you need to have Scepter of Divinity to do that. But if you have Scepter of Divinity, now your Sorceress can also hit at 3 range, which can deal more damage. So, up to you guys. Maybe it's worth it for Chris, because Chris doesn't have any 2-range mages, so this can probably be an alternative. But I still think it's not really worth it, because whenever Chris attacks at 2 range, she's using her skills, and her skills will also attack with their troops. Doesn't matter what troops she brings. Okay, this one, the Werewolf, hands down, possibly the best troops at it right now. Tanky, hits like a truck, self-heal, and only weakness is against Holy. If you can ban out Holy in Apex, you're good. In PvE, there's no Holy units you have to fight against. Very good. Okay, elite training here. This one is a little bit tricky, okay? You guys need to listen. These one here, again, if you use them as your... I honestly think when it comes to Holy or Demon, probably the last thing you want to upgrade is the defense. But attack is priority, because they hit really hard. Demon and Holy has high stats. They both have really high stats, and attack should go first, and then maybe HP, and then defense. So this one right here, when Holy and Mage HP has 100%, damage taken is decreased by 30%. This one is really important. Increases your survivability for your Mage and your Holy units. This one here, when Holy HP is above 80%, damage dealt increased by 30%. This should be level 10 before this one, in my opinion. Well, this is for survivability, and this is for attacking. But it's very easy to maintain 80% and above for both PvE and PvP. This one's a little bit harder because it needs 100%. And then this mechanic here, it sucks. When attacked by units other than demons and holy units, demon defend and magic defend increases by 11%. So, demon units in general are very tanky. They probably have the highest stats in the game in general. So this one only adds a little bit more to it, but they probably could survive even without this. However, if you phase holy units, doesn't even matter if you have this maxed out, this mechanic, you're still gonna die. So holy units are not very popular when it comes to PvP. PvE, sure, but PvE, again, you have your tank, so you probably don't have to worry too much about this. This one, I would leave it until later. Okay, Shrine Maiden, you don't have to have this at level 10. Shrine Maiden is very good though. When soldier HP is at 100%, your damage taken is decreased. It's really good. I maxed it right away, really early, but you probably can, keep it at level 8. It'll still probably do something similar to level 10. But I just have it maxed. Redeemer here. Redeemer is very good if you use any of these units. You have a better chance to... you have a chance to have 2 lives. So only downside is that if you get hit by a debuff. If you have a debuff and you get killed, you cannot revive. But this revives both your unit and your hero, so they're good. But I don't use any of these in PvP, so not worth it. PvE, they don't do any attack, they don't increase any defense. So PvE, you probably don't want to use these because you want to do a high counter damage, you want to deal damage. But this one is only there to revive. Undead Knight, very situational. I wanted to build them. They can restore their HP, they have high stats, but they're weak against holy units. They're good. They're good. So if you really like demons, use them. If not, skip them. Okay, this is probably the last page. Yes, Elite Upgrade 2. I won't talk about these here. This one's very good. All mages gain plus 20% damage whenever their HP is below 90%. I think for PvE and PvP, very good. Should be maxed. This one here, all demon gain a specific amount of percent damage whenever they have a debuff. I think this one is good for PvP. PvE not really, because you probably have your debuff cleansed, and it depends on the challenge. I don't use demon myself, so kinda meh. This one here is also really good. All holy units gain 20% attack and defense when fighting mixed forces. So this one is pretty much against mixed forces in PvP. PvE, they're not mixed forces. So this for PvP. I think these two are really good and really worth upgrading. Okay, now Crystal Warlock. Crystal Warlock is a tanky mage. Very hard to kill physically, but they're really weak against magic though. So if you want to survive and attack at 2 range, they are really well worth it to infest, but they are pretty much for PvP in my opinion. Okay, if you use any of these units, they're good. Spider Demon, they are good, but I just don't really like Demon, and I don't use any of these units. So if you use these units and you feel that, you know, the debuff is worth it, yeah, I think they're good though. Okay, Forest Priest, really good. PvE and PvP, super good. If you can use them, if you use any of these units, they are really good. They're not really tanky, but the good stuff is that they increase healing and they can do a debuff. Whenever you do anything to your allies, these troops will dispel a debuff. So it's really good. So let's say if you use heal, dispel 1 debuff. And after you do that, these troops will also dispel for you. So you're getting 2 dispel from 1 heal. And here depends how you use your units. Usually I use my mage as attack, my holy units as attackers, so I max attack first, and then HP, and then defense. Alrighty guys, very long video. I will have a timestamp, of course. Okay, here I would say the last you should upgrade would be the defense part, because mages are kind of weak. Unless you are using demon, you focus on demon, then maybe defense over HP. But I think these two are more important than these ones. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I know this is a long video, but trust me, this will save you a lot of resources. Some are just not important, and some people are like, they're hoarding their materials, they just don't know what to upgrade. So I hope this video helps, and these are all based off my own experience and opinion. So if you have any questions or any comment, feel free to let me know in the comments below, or you can join my Discord and we can discuss. And last but not least here, if there are any contents you guys want me to make, I'm more than happy to, but I have to find time. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.